Bring me cake.
Oh, that's good. We don't want any difficulties while you're around.
Books lying around second hand, you know. Put one on, took one in £2. All about Hollywood, the early days. Bob Bitson, Hollywood Act Cannon at the time, then one of my relations, one of my aunt's relations, we met back in 1916. You film.
I think he said he was
They make a movie in the early days, they drove it in the country and they made a movie. They found us that one, this is it, how to start the winding up. This is just off the street. With cowboys running around, people's on lawns.
I would say this
Inspired me, I love the old photography. I love the old the artists who built stars, they play things and they're all hand slapped on. Brilliant lighting and brilliant.
Who isn't here?
Lucy. She's here.
Reg is poorly.
Graham.
Graham is Postman Pat. I think he's up to go to Lapland.
If anyone's got any contact numbers, you can actually text them the live stream address if you want to, and they can watch it live if they're not here.
Now, as you probably know, shall we make a start?
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody. It's tough luck if they're going to be late. Most of this evening is going to be Richard giving a presentation. It goes by the funny name of, what is it?
Well, I'll tell you what, don't introduce it.
Yeah.
I'll play this little clip here, and what I'll do is I'll ask everyone if they can actually guess what it's about.
I remember now, Creative Commons, which I haven't a clue what that is, and that hopefully I might know at the end of the evening. But I don't know how many of you know much about this young man and what his background is.
I do, but
Yeah, some of you may have seen his CV. But just for those of you who haven't, Richard has spent all his working life in TV and internet, multimedia development. He started off, I think, at the age of about 16 or 17. And
Try about 9.
He was, oh yeah, doing family videos
Yeah.
from the age of 9. But then a proper job, he went and volunteered to work at Red TV.
Red TV, yeah.
Red TV, which was an independent station in Cambridge. And I think you eventually became one of their producers, didn't you?
Well, the first day I walked in, basically I had a handful of tapes that I cobbled together, a CV and a bright yellow jacket. I walked in and sort of said, you know, I'm here to volunteer, as my volunteer form. And the woman said, oh, you know, sort of, would you be interested in a quick tour? I was like, well, yeah, obviously, you know. So she gave me a tour, And then they said, right, okay, well, we're just about to start broadcasting our live TV programme. It's called 5 to 8. It's between 5 and 8 o'clock. Would you be interested in helping? I'm like, yes, please. So they sat me down in front of this computer, and my job was to load up all the graphics and stuff on the screen. So I did that and fired them up on the screen. And then they said, right, okay, sort out all the credits. There's a list of credits. And put your name on the credit list under executive producer. So my first day in true story, my first day in television, executive producer of the 5 to 8. So normally people start as runners.
There's been downhill.
There's been downhill ever since, yeah.
But then, after you've done that for a few years, you went and decided to go up to study. To get the HND, I think it is.
That's right, yeah.
In television technology and
television production and
television
operations.
production at university in Glasgow. And he did that for 3 or 4 years, I guess.
The course was 2 years, yeah.
2 years, and he got his qualification. And
did it properly.
then he got a job with Scottish TV, the equivalent of Tyne Tees TV, the ITV.
Yeah, ITV Scotland.
Again, working in Glasgow, from which you were originally born.
Yes.
Yeah. So presumably your family moved up there.
Basically, I was born in Glasgow, grew up, moved down to Cambridge when I was about 6. Grew up in Cambridge, studied in Cambridge. That's when I got the sort of TV background. I was about 22, I moved back to Glasgow. And basically, like you said, like to see family and stuff like that. And met someone and blah blah blah. I won't go into that. Did Scottish television for I think it was like 4 or 5 years, and then basically I moved on to Darlington. And
yeah, and in that time, you were involved in outside broadcast work, in studio work, and in the latter years you were actually working on their team that did the website for Scottish TV and developing that website.
Yeah. Yes, TV player. I don't know if you ever watched Emmerdale or whatever, or Coronation Street. You'll always see at the end, ITV.tv, STV.tv, U.tv. The STV.tv, I was involved in the actual development of the player, the original player. And like one of my main jobs was to take programs that were broadcast on air and repackage them, repurpose them for internet as well.
So not only does he knows a great deal about television, about video, but he knows a lot about the internet as well, and web page design. And it's in recent years that he's decided to make his own business, doing basically web multimedia design and general video work as well, if people want it. But your main interest is, I think, in having video on websites and developing websites for people commercially that want video on their website. So he does the complete package of the website design and the video and multimedia that goes on it. So he's no chump, right? And we're very, very lucky, because normally we'd expect to pay somebody their expenses to come here. So thank you, Richard, for being a member. And over to you then.
Okay, well,
Let's give him a...
Put the mic on, President.
it's on.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Would it perhaps
Sound trouble better.
Is that better? If I talk a bit louder for you.
David, would it be better if you sat at the front?
Yeah, I will probably will do not. I'm all like it. Talk so far distance.
But you won't hear there.
So the problem is, if we turn the sound up for you, it deafens the people at the front.
Oh, right.
Do you want to maybe move forward a little bit, closer, maybe to the speaker? Would you go? One of you guys maybe swap, just so I can.
Yeah, okay.
Would that be alright? Do you want to sit down there?
You'll find it better there.
department at the hospital, and they said, are you on the Darlington Camp Protocol? And I said, yeah, oh, and I definitely need a hearing aid.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, can you hear me now then? Is that better?
Yes, okay,
good,
thank you.
okay.
Right, who's going to be the light operator? Because there's a lot of on and off.
There is going to be quite a bit of on and off. Right, well, if you want to just flick it off now. I'm not going to introduce what it's about tonight. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play a short little video. It's about 35 seconds long, and I'm going to basically ask if any of you can actually guess what I'm going to be talking about tonight. So, will you just take it away?
I think we better turn that far off because it's dazzling people.
Yeah. It's behind the tables or the switches on the wall. Just pull them out. Turn them on the wall. Turn up on the turn. That's it. Turn up. You can turn all the red switches off on the top. Turn them all off.
That's it.
Magic.
Yeah. So see if you can guess what the presentation is about tonight.
Never mind.
Okay, you can switch lights back on.
Classical composers.
I do apologise about the intro. I spent about 10 minutes putting it together, so, but yeah. Right, obviously about music. Now, question for you. Can I just have a quick show of hands here? Who has made a film or a video of any kind of type and used some sort of music in it at any point? Yeah. Me too, yeah. Basically, when it comes to making videos of any type, any genre, music is probably one of the most powerful tools in your arsenal. You can use it to do whatever you like. It doesn't matter what the subject is. Basically, you can incorporate music into a video, whether it's corporate, documentary, wedding videos, it doesn't matter what type. And the thing is about music, you can use it for a whole load of different reasons. It could be used to introduce set a scene, introduce a character, set a location, set a time frame, emphasize a certain emotion, heighten tension. It could be used to improve comedy sequences. Literally, there's 1,000,001 uses why you would want to incorporate music into a video production. Now, the thing is with music, it can be pretty much impossible to make a video without any music. Basically, no matter what kind of other sounds or voice or effects or anything that are included, basically, you can change the scene drastically with just adding a music track. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a shameless free plug here for my own business. Is I'm going to show you 2 clips here. What I'm going to do is I've got one version without any music and one version with some music. So I'm going to put the lights off. Okay, John, you can actually stop that because I'm not going to show you the whole video. You can see that there. Now I'm going to show you exactly the same video with the music track incorporated. So John, if you can just play.
Is that that what we've just seen?
Yes,
Is that
yeah.
your creation?
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, so yeah, just that one there. So it's the same video, just with some music. So you can see there, straight away, just by simply incorporating a music track, changes the video totally. The first one, you wouldn't watch it for any more than about 5 seconds before you got bored and you switched it off. The second one, whoa. Cheers. Obviously with the second one, you know, it's a lot more interesting, it catches your attention a lot more quicker and it keeps your attention for longer. But when you come to, I'm not talking about technical, like how to include music or anything, I'm just talking about, you know, including it as an art form. Basically, when you're putting together a video, you first need to know what the video is all about before you decide on the music. And also, what you need to do is you need to know what you're doing with the video itself. Like for example, are you going to be doing a short film for family and friends? Are you going to be doing maybe a wedding video for a small group of people that's going to be on DVD? Are you going to be doing like an online video, or are you going to be doing like a commercial project? And basically, the answer to that question will govern what kind of music you can use. Now, in the first introduction, the very cheesy, very bad one, blatantly I've ripped off commercial music tracks. I do hold my hands up for that, and I'm very sorry. Reason being, on that, I knew that this presentation was going to be in this room. You guys are the only guys seeing it, apart from Lucy who's watching it live, but that's irrelevant. So I know that basically the chances of anyone actually reporting me for copyright infringement for that particular video is slim to none. At least I hope. No one's going to report me, are they? It's going live on the internet, so I don't know. Basically, and to be honest, even if anyone did find out about, I don't think Madonna's producers or Rihanna's publicists are going to spend any time or effort to try and find me and sue me for the use of that tonight. Plus also, I'm under the impression that the Filmmakers Club licence covers me to use that anyway, aren't I?
With certain restrictions.
Yeah.
Under certain
Yeah, so I mean, legally I've not broken any.
Not if you're an IAC member.
Yeah.
Then what you've done tonight is not illegal.
Yeah. But worst case scenario, I've maybe I've broken a bit of copyright. Right. However, if I decided to put that first video onto YouTube, obviously online, make it available to everybody, it completely changes things. Basically, if I put things onto YouTube, well, first of all, YouTube has got a very, very clever bit of software. You can sit down for a bit. No, you can sit down for a bit here. Basically, if you put any kind of commercial music onto YouTube or onto any videos that are online, YouTube has a filter and it can automatically recognise those. And sometimes what you might find is you get like a flag on a video that's uploaded with commercial music. Basically what YouTube says is, oh, I recognise that, that's Madonna's track, so your video is actually in breach of copyright, so I'm going to flag that. Now, depending on what the video is, sometimes it can get as nasty as YouTube actually automatically take the video offline, so that basically nobody can watch it. You also might even get, like the copyright holder gets a notice that you are using their particular track or their particular content. So in, basically worst case scenario, you could get an invoice land on your door, or you can even get someone knocking on your door saying, right, you've used our copyrighted music, you owe us some money. Now that's the worst possible scenario, basically, you can find yourself in some very hot water using copyright music. So, what can you do? Well, basically, I don't want to scare anyone. Continue to make short films, continue to use music tracks, but I'll go into that a little bit more. Basically, if you're planning on using music for your projects, like for example, commercial or online videos, DVDs, games, etc. Any kind of commercial project or anything that you're going to be putting online. There are basically 4 different options that you can use. How are we doing for time? I planned this to last about an hour, but I seem to be spewing through it. Obviously, number 1, you can use commercial music in your projects. Basically, like I did for the first introduction, obviously I wanted tracks that had music in them, so obviously Rihanna, Madonna, music that's well go around. The pros of using commercial music tracks, basically you can get a well-known track, well-known song, it's instantly recognisable, and obviously there's a high chance that you can get a track that matches the type of content that you're looking for. So for example, tonight, the music, you know, everything had music, blah blah blah. The cons of using commercial music, basically the cost, quite simply. You know, you've got third-party license problems with broadcasting it, takedowns if the video is taken offline, potentially you get sued, bankruptcy, poverty, yeah, you know, absolutely worst case scenario. Sorry?
It wasn't a very good film either.
It doesn't get much better. So that's obviously one option for you. But the other, probably more recommended option is find alternative sources for your music. So, for example, number 1, if you're any good at music yourself, if you're a musician, if you're a composer, number 1, make the track yourself. So what I've done is I've got a short film, and it's really old, and it's terrible, and it features me, so I do apologise. But if you just watch it, it's about 1 minute 45 seconds long, and then I'll discuss that in a second.
Here we go.
So yeah, basically, for that, can you hear everything okay, yeah? Are you finding everything okay?
Yeah,
Yeah?
thank you.
No worries. Basically, yeah, if you want to just play that video, but just don't play any sound for it. I'm just using this as an example.
Sorry, the one that's on the DVD?
No,
Or the one that we just
the one
watched?
that you've got highlighted. Yeah.
Music?
Yeah, yeah.
That, but without the sound?
Yeah. Let me do it. Don't worry about the lights for this. Basically, that video that I just showed you, the shoot, All the music on it was made by myself. Now, I'm not a composer. I don't claim to make. I'm not a musician. I don't claim to make music. Basically, what I did was I got a bit of software like these, like EJ, Music Maker. I've had these for years. And the idea is basically you build it up using different sound effects, different loops. So for example, on the top there, you've got your bass track, and then as you play it, you've got your drums, and then you've got your effects, and then you've got your synthesizers and stuff. So basically what you do is you just build it up on a sort of piece by piece, and then you can create it into a music track. Now, the ones I just showed you, you can switch the light back on, thanks. The ones I've just showed you are obviously for the PC. There is software available for all sorts of different computers, Macs. In fact, there's one I had lying left over. That used to be able to run on the PlayStation 1. And it does the same sort of thing. So, using a computer console, something that kids have lying around, you've probably got one lying around in the loft or something if you've got kids. You can use software that just to make music for your videos.
And you're using little snippets
Yeah.
of loops
Yeah.
that are completely license free to use,
Yeah.
and assembling them in the order you want.
Yes.
Do you want us to hear just a bit of that?
Yeah, you can. This one I've just grabbed this off YouTube again. So. I know it's not to everyone's taste.
Yeah, it would be a background for an action movie that we've done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as I say, you can just build it up layer at a time, so you can have a bass, and then you can have some synthesizers, and then you can have a beat, and then you can have some lyrics and stuff. So basically, yeah, just using a bit of software that you can pick up, you can actually create your own music. Now, obviously, the pros and cons. The pro is completely free, apart from the cost of the software, which you can probably pick up for about £5 or less. Or you can even download free software. Another pro, once you've made the music track, you own the copyright. It's your track. You don't have to worry about having to pay license fees and stuff like that. Yes, it is built up using loops or sound effects that are in the software, but they're all released as part of a license, so there's no royalty issues with that either. And another pro, once you've made the music track, if you upload it to the internet, potentially other people, oh, I like that music track, can I use that for my film? Yeah, sure, I'll charge you. So you can actually make money out of your music, potentially, by making it yourself. Sorry. Now obviously there are cons to this. The main con is it depends on your skill level. I put that particular track together for that. I don't think it's a particularly wonderful track, it's pretty naff. And obviously you're restricted to the sound effects and loops that come with the software. But you can generally incorporate other sounds and stuff like that if you want. But the main downside is that the music track that you make could be a pile of crap, basically. So I'd like to go with film, like I just showed you. So, if you're no good at making music, another option for obtaining music for your films is you can basically contact a composer or a producer and ask them to do it for you. Basically, you can have a look online, or if you know anyone that does music or instrumentals, or any musicians, you can actually get in touch with them, maybe drop them an email or something, and actually ask if you can use some of their music in your production. Now, I did actually do that option about 10 years ago. I was making a short film, it's called Dead Stoned. Basically, it was like a sort of horror comedy. It was about 4 sort of pot smoking chavs or Neds who all get butchered and come back as zombies and they smoke pot. I won't show it in the club because I really don't think you guys will appreciate it. But the music, I was looking for a piece of music to obviously use for the theme tune, and me and the producer kind of stumbled across this Spanish band, ironically called Dead Stoned. And so we sent them an email, oh hi, blah blah blah, we're making a short horror zombie film based in Glasgow. We've just noticed that you've got a band called Dead Stones. Don't suppose we could use some of your music? And we got an email back, and they were absolutely over the moon that we contacted them. They could not help us any more than they did. They even went, and considering this is from Spain, they even went as far as they sent us a copy of the DVD. This is the latest album, well, it was back then, and it was we had a pre-copy of it. So this was we had it before, about 3 weeks before it was actually released, and one of the tracks was actually called Dead Stoned, which we obviously used for the theme tune. Now I'm not going to play it because none of you will like it. It's horrible. As a music track, but as a music track for a film called Dead Stoned, it was absolutely perfect. So that brings me on to obviously using composers and other composers asking if you can use their permission. Now, the pros of that, potentially, it could be free. They sent me their music, we used it, we had all the permission to use it, we didn't pay them a penny. It was completely free. Another benefit is if you kind of get in touch with composers, there is a chance you could build up a relationship with them. You could work on future collaborative projects together. They might say, well, if you've got a short film, I'll make a piece of music for your project. So there is a possibility, if you are working on video, to try and get in contact with people that work in audio and music, and basically just build up rapport with them. The cons, basically depends on the project. Yeah, they can turn around and say no. They don't want their music on your video. They could be, Dead Stones might not have liked the fact that we made a film about zombie, pot smoking chavs, and said no, we don't want anything to do with the project. But that's obviously one of the things. Another con is if you have any disagreements with the producers or whatever further down the line, you could maybe run into a few problems where they say, right, okay, well, we don't like you anymore. You've used our music for your film. We now want payment. Blah blah blah. But if you kind of build up, put together a contract beforehand, then the chances of that actually happening is very little. Now, I will show you another example. It's the past achievements video. Basically, I was actually hired. It was a commercial project. It was a golf club based in Glasgow, and they wanted to revamp their website, and they wanted like a whole load of videos to promote their course, their club, the achievements, all the shops, that sort of thing. And basically, I was hired to actually do the job. So what I did was I was looking for some music, and I got in touch with someone I found on newgrounds.com, who basically just did some music. Asked him, I said, look, it's for a commercial project. He goes, yeah, fine, no worries. And he gave me permission to use any music track that he'd made that was on that site. So as it happens, I made I think it was about 17 videos in total, and all of them feature his music. So yeah, so if you just put the thing up. Thank you. So as I said, that was one of, as I said, around about 17 videos that I made commercially, and I actually got paid for them. And I asked a composer who I'd never met, just basically stumbled across one of his tracks, played it, oh yeah, I think that'll fit. Sent him an email, it's a commercial project, can I use your music? Yeah, fine. And he didn't get paid.
Was this while you were working for STV or before that?
It was actually while I was working for STV, but it was kind of like a little sort of side job. So again, that's another option for sources for music. So you can ask people, composers, producers, you know, that's obviously another source. If you don't know any composers or producers or anything, another source of music is you can use production music. Now, I don't know if any of you know of any production websites. I'm sure you've probably all heard music that's been used in the production websites. Basically, the idea of production websites is they hire a whole load of different composers, they incorporate a load of music tracks onto their database, and then basically anyone that's making a video can actually log on and find a bit of music that fits their, their project or whatever, download it, they pay a fee, and then you've got the rights to use it. So the pros are, obviously you're getting very, very high quality music, so it's not just like, homemade crap, basically. It's often a lot cheaper than trying to use a commercial track, and the chances are you can actually get a music track that sounds quite similar to a track that, a commercial music track that you would like to use. Now, the only con is, depending on which production company you go for, you might find that you start to use the same kind of music that I used for other productions. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you two little videos back to back. They're only about 25-30 seconds long. The first one is a Meerkats video. Now, this is a short promotion I did for STV, and then I'll show you another video that was actually an advert on television. So just bear with.
Just after the meerkats their lunch, today they're getting crickets and mealworms.
So that's obviously the one that I made. And then the next video, number 8. Now this, just before you quickly play it, this is the Australian version of the advert. There was a British advert which was exactly the same, but I couldn't find it on YouTube, so I do apologise.
Do you have an old mobile phone that's just lying around? Why not visit mizumamobile.com.au, find out how much it's worth and exchange it for cash. Turning your old mobile into cash with Mizuma Mobile couldn't be easier. Simply tell us what make and model you have, post us your phone, and we could pay up to $250 for it. So go on, what are you waiting for? Magic your old phone into cash with mizumamobile.com.au today.
Did you notice anything there? I must admit, I'll put my hand, I made the promo for the STV, and it was up on their website before I saw the advert. But as soon as I saw the advert, I was like, they use my track. Why do they use my track? So, yeah, so that's obviously one of the cons, is that basically you could potentially be using the same track as other people. Now, as John mentioned earlier, I worked for Scottish Television. You can sit down. For quite a long time. And one of my jobs was to repackage material that was broadcast on the television for internet use. Now obviously this is where I picked up the reasons why you need to use non-commercial music for internet, because the rights are completely different. One of my main jobs was we had lots and lots of packages for like daytime TV programs. You know, like I'm sure you've seen like This Morning or any of the programs, and they have like a pre-recorded section that's obviously they went out and they've recorded it and edited it, and then they add the music, and then the presenters standing there live. Hi, blah blah blah. Now we're going to this section about hair. Boom. My job was to take those edited sections, which obviously were flagged up that they were going to be appearing as a standalone video on the internet, on the STV website, and find music. I had to take all the music out because it was commercial tracks, because the producers for the television, they didn't care about the internet. The internet wasn't anything to do with them. All they wanted to do is, yes, okay, we're making a piece about the Glasgow Science Museum. Oh, that's a bit spacey. Let's use Star Wars. You know, oh, we're making a video about an aquarium. Let's use Jaws. You know, they didn't care because obviously their broadcast license covered them to use commercial music. So what I had to do was I spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours every single day finding music that sounded like commercial music tracks. I used a company called Audio Network. Now, STV had a license for them, but in my opinion, Audio Network is probably one of the best production companies for finding music. Basically, there's several different ways you can do it. You can do it on a per track basis. So if you've got a short film and you want a music track, you can pay for the license for that. If you want to do it on a production, say you've got like a long video, you want to use 5 or 6 tracks, you can actually use the license to cover that production, or you can basically pay like an annual license. It's not cheap. I think STV were paying, I think it might have been about £5,000 a year just for music, but that was like an unlimited license, so you could use as many tracks as you like, for as long as you like, and it gives you lifetime license. So,
What sort of money are you talking about? I mean, it's a pittance for somebody like STV.
Yeah,
It might be a lot of money for a member here.
it really does depend on the project. I mean,
Typically.
yeah, it could be anything from like maybe 15, 20 quid per track to, maybe a few £100 per track, depending on the license, depending on what use you're going to be using it for. If it's a commercial project and you know you're going to be getting money in, if it's a feature film that's going to be released on DVD, it's going to be 200-300 quid per track, but that's going to be covered in the budget for making the film anyway. So if it's an online video for YouTube, for students, it's probably a lot less. So the only downside, and it's probably not going to affect you, but it does affect me a lot, because I've spent so much time on Audio Network, I now hear Audio Network tracks all the bloody time. And the amount of time I sit there and think, I've used that for that, I used that for that, and it kind of does spoil TV for me. That's why I don't watch TV anymore, basically. So, but as I say, you can get tracks that are really, really good for whatever you want to use. So I'm going to show you this one. It's only 30 seconds, and then I'm going to show you another one, which is Enchanted Forest. It's I'll show you about the first minute and a half. And the Enchanted Forest was one I had to actually replace all the music for. I'll talk about that in a second. Can I just say that's probably one of the best ways to spend a Sunday afternoon. If you want to play the Enchanted Forest.
during the autumnal months, and is even more so this season as once again Faskally Forest is host to one of Scotland's most unusual events, the Enchanted Forest. Now in its 4th year, it continues to enchant the crowds. The experience begins with a 10-minute display, this year's theme being creation. Unfolds over the reflecting waters of Loch Faskally. Before exploring the rest of the forest, I spoke to the event's organiser, Hamish Murray.
My name's Hamish Murray, and I'm chairman.
Cheers. Yes, that was Enchanted Forest. Just for the records, if you ever get the chance, if you go to Pitlochry, do visit there because it's absolutely awesome. The video does not do the place justice. It's really, really good. But basically, the reason I wanted to talk about that one in particular is when we went to film it, we were told that we can film any of the light show, that's not a problem. But it was a light and sound experience, and we were not allowed to use any of the music. So the music that was actually at the experience was completely different to that. It was all synced and timed, and it was actually it was about a 10-minute piece. It was specifically composed and written for the experience. And we were not allowed, we just could not get the rights to it at all. So what we had to do when I filmed it was basically get a sound alike and a production music that would still fit the same theme and still promote it as well as I could. So production music, again, very, very good option. Now, I'm going to talk about educational licenses as well. Now, when I was at college, back in 2002, I think, I was 22, so about 11 years ago, something like that. Basically, when we were making productions, we were allowed to use pretty much whatever music we liked. And the reason being was because the college actually had like an umbrella license that covered educational purposes. So we weren't making commercial tracks, we weren't making commercial videos, using tracks. What we were doing was we were learning how to make videos. So we can use whatever track. We had basically a wall about the same size as this wall. It was about knee high, and it had CDs. Obviously everything's done now on the internet, but basically we could go in and we could find tracks and to match whatever we wanted to do. It was before online sort of database searches were really in, so I'm talking good sort of 10, 11, 12 years ago. Obviously the pros and cons. Now the pro, when you're learning, it's great. You can use whatever music track you like. You don't have to pay for it because it's kind of covered under the license that the university or the college pay. And basically it encourages you to be experimental with music, so you don't have to think, oh, I like this music track, but I can't afford the license for this, so I can't use it. It gives you the chance to be experimental. Now, the downside is, if you make a really good video, it's only under educational use that you can use the video. So if you decide to go on and make, a short video and then put it on the internet, well, if it's on the college website, it's fine, but if it's on your own website or YouTube or whatever, then you've got a problem because, again, you run into the potential license issues. So what I've got is I'm going to show you a short video. This is on the DVD. Basically, what I did, we made this sort of short sequence. It was we were told to make a title sequence for a TV program in the style of 24. That was the brief that we were given. And you can use whatever music you like, and it had to be like a bit of a montage and a bit of a sort of like a chase sequence, but not like a running chase. But anyway, so the music that we used, I can't remember off the top of my head what it was from, but it was a well-known television film piece. I'm sure maybe some of you will actually recognise it, and you can tell me what it is, because I can't remember off the top of my head. I was talking many years ago. So if you want to just switch the light off.
Is it this one, Master
It's the Master Edit, yes, please, John. Being by the way, failures.
You never said you were a bloody actor as well, did you?
Well, let's step in. I was only supposed to be the editor for that project, but it turned out there was someone actually dropped out, and I was free on the day they were filming, so I'm like, can you do some stand-in filming? Can you just be an actor?
Did you ever enter into competitions with those?
No. Probably should do. Yeah, so that was, as I say, that was one that we did at college under the education. Did anyone recognise the music track, by the way? No. It was some sort of detective sleuth film or video or something. It was actually a proper commercial track. But obviously, I couldn't put that online, but I wanted to. Well, obviously, I left college and wanted it to be on the showreel and stuff. So what I did was, I changed the music. So if I show you the alternative, I'm not going to show you the whole thing, because you've just seen it. I'll show you the first, I don't know, minute or so. so like I said earlier, if you change the music, you completely change the whole tense and feeling of the video. Just a quick show of hands. Who preferred the first one and who preferred the second one? So who preferred the first one? Put your hands up. Okay, and who preferred the second one? Put your hands up. Oh, okay. I actually preferred the first one, personally. But yeah, as I say, you can change the music, and there was no other editing involved. All the sound effects were there. All I did was I changed the music track, so I could use it on the showreel, and basically completely changed the theme of the video. So, now to come on to what was confusing John is Creative Commons. Now, Creative Commons is what I would recommend. If you can, use Creative Commons music for your video projects. Basically, it is very similar to production music. It's created by composers, producers, whatever. They put it on their website and stuff, and they give you a free license to use their music in whatever you choose. That can include commercial projects, that can include short films, anything that you like. The pros, obviously, it's free. You don't have to actually pay anything for it at all. You do tend to get a good choice. Maybe not as good as you get with production music, but you can, if you do a good bit of searching, you can get a good choice. You don't have to get in touch with the composers at all. All you do is basically you put a link on the video. If you put it on, say, YouTube or whatever, just music track, blah, 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 by such and such, link to the website, used under Creative Commons license. That's all you have to do. Or if it's like for a DVD or film or whatever, you can actually just put it in the credits at the title. The best thing is, did I mention it's free? Yeah, it's probably the best way of doing it.
It's a way for a budding composer to advertise their wares for nothing.
Exactly, yes, exactly. What I tend to do is if I ever do use Creative Commons, just as a little bit of a common courtesy, if you can find an email address or a contact details, just say, oh, just let you know, I've just used one of your tracks on the Creative Commons, here's the link to the video, so you can watch it. 9 times out of 10, they'll like send an email, they'll basically ignore you. Occasionally you get an email sent back, oh thanks or whatever, and if they're really, really kind of keen and up on their thing, what they might do is they might even like put it on their website or whatever, and link to it. Now the cons, obviously there are cons to using Creative Commons. It can be quite limited, so you're not going to get the same sort of choice as like commercial music tracks, or if you're using production music. Again, you need to double check that the license covers you for whatever use. Just because it says Creative Commons on it doesn't mean that you have an automatic right to use it. But what I tend to do is, before I use a music track, I spend about 5 or 10 minutes just reading through the actual terms and conditions just to make sure that what I'm using it for is covered. And also, again, because it is free and there's like a sort of smaller amount of it available, you do tend to find that sometimes people jump on the bandwagon and they use the same composers and same music tracks and that sort of thing there. So I mean, I've seen videos where I've used the same track as someone else, but you get what you pay for, unfortunately. But it's all in the internet, really. So I've got a couple of examples that I'm going to show you that I've basically used Creative Commons music for. One is basically a sort of short film. It's called Wash Day. The alternative title is It Was 2 AM, I Was Bored, and I Wanted to Make a Film. And also another one which I'll show you is a commercial project, again, that I've got paid for under Darlington Digital Video Productions. And again, I used the Creative Commons music for that. So the first one is Wash Day, which is this one here. video was basically, I was playing around with depth of focus. That video, as I say, I was playing around with the lenses on the camera, trying to get a really shallow depth of focus there. And I was also playing around with some colour correction and colour grading as well. So as a video, yeah, it's a bit naff and a bit boring and stuff. But as a tool that I was used to learn, it was good fun.
Would I be right in saying, Richard, that whereas commercial tracks that you get, well, it's not the when I don't mean commercially produced for video, but the stuff that's produced.
Anything you hear on the radio, anything.
Stuff you hear on the radio, or you see in a music shop.
Yeah.
That tends to be a standalone piece of entertainment on its own.
Yes.
Whereas a lot of this stuff, which is, I guess, on Creative Commons, has been designed to be used as background music.
Yes. Yes.
So it's probably more suitable than a normal commercial track.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
From Spotify or iTunes or wherever.
Yeah. Basically, when I say commercial music track, like John's just said, anything that's used as a piece of music. So you know, any of your favourite bands or groups or singers or whatever, their job is they're in the music industry, which is an industry by itself, to produce music that you'll go out and buy and listen to. The other stuff I'm talking about, the production music and the Creative Commons music, is music that's designed to accompany video. So it's not as a standalone piece, if that makes sense. I mean, you wouldn't buy a CD with that music track on it and just listen to it.
No.
You know, does that make any sense? Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
In fact, you don't want the music to be too strident or too attention grabbing.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it will then distract people's attention from the visual side of it.
Commercial music is like, as I say, anything you hear on the radio, any songs. You know, the idea is that you buy it because it's a song, you like it, you listen to it. Whereas the other stuff is designed to accompany video, and so yeah, it's not to be the centre of attention. It's to hold the video's hand. So yeah.
Would this be a good time for us to take a break?
I've just
or is there a natural point?
Well, what I'll do is I've got I've only got one. I've got about another 5 minutes, and I'll take a break.
That's all?
Yeah.
But after the break?
After the break, then I'm finished.
Oh, right. Okay.
You said the first half, so I did it in the first half.
That's fine.
So yeah, so Darlington Heaven, it's about 3 minutes, so.
Is this another one of your creations, is it?
Yes, this is actually another commercial. I was hired to make this video for this woman's website.
Called Darlington Heaven.
Yep, in Middlesbrough.
And this is for a website?
This was actually to promote her shop.
Yeah.
But obviously online, so yeah.
My name is Bernie Silver and I'm the owner of Diamond Heaven. We're located at Captain Cook Square, Middlesbrough. Diamond Heaven specialises in all occasion gifts and accessories, embellished with many varieties of crystals. We stock a wide range of innovative and decorative products, including designer brands such as Jimmy Crystal New York and Joma Jewellery. Our product range includes gifts, jewellery, watches, hair accessories, stationery, home decor, wedding accessories, and also wedding accessory hire. Plus, we offer many bespoke personalised products such as drink straws, favours, cake toppers, and engraved gifts.
You can stop it there. Again, that was Creative Commons free music that I used for a commercial project that I got paid for. So, basically, just to sort of kind of sum up, when you're creating a video project and you're looking for music, what you really need to know is what the video project is for. Who is your audience? Do you need commercial music, i.e. music that you'll hear on the charts or whatever? Can you get music that sounds like it if you do? Can you use certain tracks? Is there any fees involved? Can you get it for free under Creative Commons? Can you ask the composer directly? Is it covered under the license that the club has? Then you edit the video, and then obviously you can broadcast it. Now, I'm not saying that everyone should ditch commercial music when they're editing a video. Basically, if you've got an idea in your head and you want to edit, and you've got I know that I want the sequence to look like this, and I've got a music track in my head that I want to use, go ahead and edit it, because you can always use that as a rough cut to build upon. So I've got a couple of short, sort of 30, 40 second clips. Now these are the very, very, very rough, can you sit down? These are the very rough cuts of another commercial video that I was producing. The driving sequence and the getting ready. Now, these are commercial, i.e. music that you hear in the charts. See if you recognise what they are. So yeah, obviously, who recognise that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. The next one, they're getting ready, rough cut. Terrible, I know. Both of them.
You like that? You like that?
I'm sure you won't, John. Calm down. Get this man a cold shower. So sometimes, if you've got an idea in your head, go with it. It doesn't matter if you're using a commercial music track to maybe shape and edit or whatever. That one, I showed it to the client, she loved it, but I told them there's no way that we're going to get away with using that on the website. So what we did was I had to actually find alternative music. So again, I went back to my favourite friends, Creative Commons, and I found it sound-alike music. Now what I'm going to do, I'll control the video for this one, John, because it's not from the beginning. But this is like the final edit, and you can see how much it's changed. So the number 5 became this. And then the driving sequence, again, this is the one that was based on the first one, true. So as I say, that's like the final sequence. You can see how much has actually changed. Just leave off. It's alright, I'll just leave off.
I think my granddaughters might like to use that.
Yeah. I've got their contact details. My little beauty up there, yeah. So yeah, so basically, if you've got an idea, then go with it. You don't have to use it as a final edit. But do you know what? Sometimes you do have to use a certain music track because it's the only one that will work. Final video of the night, I promise. 2 minutes, 5 seconds. Enjoy. Yep. Alright. There you go. Just to explain that video, that was shot, it was actually in Ireland. It was 2009, I believe, no, before that, 2007, I think it was. It was my granddad had passed away, sadly, and we all went to a funeral. And basically I took my camera with me to obviously film the funeral. And I made a video of the whole thing, and just obviously because it was such a morbid topic, put that together as part of it just to lighten everyone up. So, and it's the only music track that work. So, there you go. Does anyone have any questions?
What about if you, okay, you might have a band or a singer or someone with a guitar and a singer to record, they're recording a known song.
You've still got the copyright problem?
Yeah, although their performance, if they give you permission for their performance, the actual original song, there's still
the composer has a right.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, I understood
I think after something like 70 or
it's
80 years...
It's after 75 years.
It becomes free for all.
Yeah.
But then, if somebody's playing the music, you owe them money.
Yeah.
That's right.
So unless you get an amateur who doesn't want paying to play a piece of music that's 70 years or more old,
my friend was very lucky.
you're going to owe somebody.
Stuff like the original classical musics, the Tchaikovsky, the Bach, you know, all the classical composers, because they're so old. If you use the original versions, you're fine. You don't have any copyright issues to worry about.
So a friend of mine down in Reading, they were recording, was working with a school, was also doing the amateur dramatics for Merchant of Venice, a musical version. So the head of the school arts department was a composer. He just said, "I'll compose music for you." And he said, "That's right." That's music. What a luck.
But he has the copyright.
He has copyright. He'd be allowed.
He agreed that you would use it for nothing.
Yeah.
And the orchestra that was playing it, or the group that was playing it, they've got a copyright on their performance. And they were happy.
Yes, yes.
But if you went and then used that stuff on the internet in some film or other, they would say, hello, we didn't say you could do that.
That was kind of like the Enchanted Forest.
Yeah.
There was a composer that composed the music specifically for that production, but we weren't allowed to use it for any kind of broadcast rights. There were no broadcast rights. So.
Yeah, I think the thing that's come through, and I've learned personally of tonight, is that I've always gone through my CD collection to look for a bit of music that might fit a bit of film out there. And now I realise that that's the wrong way to do it, because that's not the sort of music really to use in a film. And so you either use these Creative Commons sources where you get it for nothing and can use it, provided you check the copyright terms, or you buy what we call it copyright-free music.
The IEC have got libraries of them.
Yeah, which is not cheap. I think it's about 25 quid for a CD.
The IEC ones are only about 10 or 12 pounds.
Yeah. But it's still a bit of an outlay.
It's 32.
And if you're wanting to have a reasonable library of those that you can use, the important thing is that if it's copyright-free music being produced for this sort of application, or it's Creative Commons that are being produced for that sort of application, it's far more suitable for a soundtrack for a film than putting Rihanna's music on, or Mantovani, or you name it, because it's not designed to be centre stage. So it's been an eye-opener for me tonight, and I think we can appreciate now what somebody like Richard can bring to the club. And I'm very grateful, Richard.
Thank you.
You spent a fair bit of time producing and preparing for this talk tonight.
I've dug out, as I say, archives.
And this is a guy who's using his time to make a living out of what he's shown us tonight. So it's doubly rewarding and appreciated that you've spent your own valuable time doing this for us.
What I'm going to do is I'll compose a list of sources for music, which I can make available either on the club website or email it out, and also send a link to the video.